As a professional fitness coach, I know that you don't want to be an influencer, but I do know that you want to be influential. You do want to have influence. And this matters because in today's very mature market, your credibility is what creates visibility. So you don't have to become an influencer, but you do need to become influential. And those games are very different. An influencer captures attention. An influential coach earns trust. And in a mature market, which we know that we're in today, trust is the currency that converts. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to build it. And I'm going to share a creative workflow that makes it simple. Not through reach, not through follower count, and not through going viral, but through the clarity, structure, and consistency in which you share your expertise. Let's get into it. Let me start with the diagnosis, because if your content isn't building influence, if you're posting but not converting, creating but not connecting, it almost always comes back to three things. The first is unstructured thinking. You have the expertise. You've put in the reps. You've coached hundreds of sessions and you know what works. But when you sit down to create content, it comes out scattered. You try to cover way too many things in a single video. You may qualify every statement. You start with one idea and maybe end up somewhere completely different. That's not a content problem. It's typically a packaging problem. Unstructured thinking produces content that's hard to follow. And when content is hard to follow, it's very hard to trust. The second is inconsistency. You show up when you're inspired, but quit when life gets busy. And the people who are starting to pay attention, they lose the thread. Your influence compounds when you're consistent, and it evaporates when you're not. The coach who shows up every single week, year over year, will always outsell the coach who has 3 good months and then disappears. And the third, and honestly, no one's really talking about this one, is unclear communication. You can have brilliant ideas and still lose people because the gap between what you know and what your ideal viewer understands is way wider than most coaches realize. Influence isn't just about what you know. It's about how clearly your ideal client can receive it. And that's the real work. Not knowing more, communicating better. Here's something I often notice with content from fitness coaches. They share what they know in the order it comes to them, the order inside their brains, not the order your potential client needs to hear it. But top coaches creating content, they teach in frameworks. They take what they know and they package it into a repeatable, named structure and deliver it in a way that's clear, memorable, and actionable. That's the differentiator. It's not just knowledge. It's not just credentials. It's not just charisma. It's the ability to package your ideas well. Think about the coaches that you know, the coaches that you follow, the coaches that you might even want to be mentored by. Chances are they have a way of explaining something that feels like a system. They've named something, they've organized it, they've made the complex feel clear. That's craft, and it is learnable. Here's why this matters so much. When you package your ideas into a framework, you present professionally and it builds authority. Your ideas become easy to remember. People can't recommend something that they can't recall. And clear communication signals competence long before they ever reach out. And most importantly, it turns your knowledge into something that your ideal viewer can actually use, something they can actually implement. Over the last 43 episodes, I've taken 23 years of marketing experience and packaged it specifically for you, the fitness coach who wants to build a practice that they actually want to live inside of. I've given you the coaching content signature so that you know exactly what to say, how to say it, and who to say it for. I've given you the 5-part marketing system so your marketing has structure behind your effort. I've given you the 8-step marketing roadmap so you know exactly where to start and what to do next. I've given you the niche formula so you stop trying to speak to everyone and you actually connect with your ideal client. I've given you the minimum viable marketing system so that you can build momentum without burning out. I've given you weekly content anchors and magnet videos so that your content has a center of gravity and that it's sustainable for the long game. These are not just generic marketing frameworks dressed up in fitness language. They're tools and systems that I've built for coaches who are serious about their craft and serious about building a business that they actually enjoy. That's what we're talking about when we talk about your intellectual property, your systems, and your frameworks. You already have the knowledge. The work is packaging it so that your ideal client can receive it, remember it, and take action on it. That's what makes you influential. And here's one of the biggest missed opportunities that I chat with coaches about all the time. Documenting while you coach, making content creation an extension of your actual practice. Think about what's going to happen in your coaching business this week. You're going to have breakthrough conversations with clients. A client is going to have a light bulb moment where something actually clicks. You're going to find new ways of communicating something that you've been trying to articulate for weeks. A concept is going to land better than it ever has before, and client wins and results are going to happen. All of those moments are content, and not in a performative way, in a real way. And the next time your viewer, a potential future client, sees that proof in action in your content, you solving a struggle for a client that they're feeling, it connects for them too. But if you don't capture it, it never will. Here's what I want you to understand about how people choose the right coach for them. They don't just follow your content. They follow your evidence. They follow your momentum, and they follow proximity. This is why I share the concept of becoming the 3-mile hero so frequently. This works both physically and digitally. Physically, it's pretty simple. You live somewhere, you train somewhere, you work somewhere, you shop and hang out in places. The people in your actual community, your gym, your neighborhood, your local network, the places you frequent, potential clients are already in your orbit. They see you, and when they see you showing up in content consistently, documenting your work, sharing the proof, coaching through your content, the trust barrier drops way faster. You stop being a stranger on the internet, and you start being someone they bump into at a coffee shop and feel comfortable enough to DM. Digitally, this works the same way. Your 3-mile presence, your local proximity, your consistency in your content, it creates comfortability and familiarity. The people who've quietly been watching your content for months without saying a word, they finally reach out. And these people don't need a hard sell. They need consistent evidence that you're active, that you're coaching, that you're delivering results over and over again, and that you're the right coach to help them. Documentation of your everyday workflow creates that proximity. In episode 8, I go deeper on this 3-mile hero concept. And we talk about why local presence, both physically and digitally, even for fully online coaches, builds trust quickly. When you share behind the scenes of your actual coaching in your content, your ideal client doesn't just learn something, they build confidence in you. So here's what a lot of coaches miss. They don't capture what they're already doing. They don't distribute it consistently, and they underestimate how valuable the actual proof is. Every client session where something clicks, every question a client asks you, that's your content, and it's already happening. You just have to capture it and incorporate it into your content. And every time you do, you're building those important content minutes we talked about last episode. Let me give you a simple model for how actual influence gets made. I want you to think about this as your new creative rhythm and your regular daily workflow. It's a 3-step loop: see, make, and say. See is your observation, your ability to notice and take note. Something catches your attention in a session, in your own training, in the industry, in the world around us. It connects to something you believe or challenges something you've seen actually work or fail. That becomes the seed. Make is where you take what you've noticed and you shape it. You find the framework to communicate it. You name it, you organize it, and you figure out what it actually means for your ideal client. This is where the real creative and intellectual work happens. Not just in the turning on the camera and filming the video, but in the organizing, in the thinking, in the packaging. And finally, say is where you share and publish that idea, where you deliver your worldview on that concept. And then the loop starts again. It feeds itself, because you're going to see how people react and respond to what you've shared. And that sparks a new idea or a new thought or an iteration of that thought. You see what lands and what doesn't. New questions come up. That all feeds back into see, and the cycle continues. And your goal is to shrink the loop, to decrease the time it takes you to see and notice, to make and to share. Most coaches have a massive gap between the see and the share. They observe something genuinely insightful, but they forget to take note of it. And they definitely aren't sitting with it, thinking about how to communicate it better. But the coaches who are building real influence, they're shrinking this loop. They're creating real momentum. And what arrives on the other side is real connection with your viewer. Your perspective needs to connect to your viewer's reality. Your frameworks need to give them a way to see something they couldn't see before. And your proof, your coaching evidence, your client results, your lived experiences in your everyday workflow, that makes it real. This connects back to another concept I've shared with you in previous videos of perspective, connection, and proof. That's the transfer. That's what influence actually feels like when it's working. So this creative flow needs to become a mindset, and building rhythm with this is what makes your content sustainable. 24/7, you're going to be a noticer. You're going to see things and you're going to take note of them. Influence starts with observation, and observation is a skill that you're practicing all the time, not just when you sit down to create. but every day. Your ideas are going to come from coaching conversations, from actual sessions, from client feedback. Those are your richest sources of ideas. The questions your clients are asking, the belief shifts you're working through with them, the light bulb moments where breakthroughs happen, they also come from your calendar. What's coming up this week? What's top of mind for your clients right now? They come from your feed, not from just copying other content, but from what you're actually seeing circulating in the industry, things that you agree with or disagree with, or things that you want to go deeper on, and especially from the industry norms or misinformation that you disagree with. Those are gold. Your point of view on conventional wisdom, that can be some of your most distinctive content. In any of the episodes where we've talked about your coaching content signature, we've hit on why belief-based content that speaks specifically to your ideal client is the best filter for attracting the right audience and filtering out the not so ideal clients. But it all starts with your ability to observe, with the noticing daily. And then weekly, you mine the ideas that you've captured. You pick one, you shape it, and you share it. Once a week, you look back at those notes. You take the time. You pick one idea, you package it well, and that's what you create your video about. You make one anchor piece of content that goes deep. That anchor is also what builds your content minutes, which we covered in the last episode. But that's the rhythm. It's not complicated. It's not overwhelming, and it's sustainable because it's built around what you're already doing as you coach. This is how you build your bingeable body of work, your coaching content library, the library that reflects you, your actual coaching, the library that you're proud of. Every framework you name, every coaching insight that you capture, every system or process that you share, every belief that you articulate clearly, that accumulates and compounds. It becomes the reason someone chooses you over any other coach. The coaches who will be winning in the next 5 years are not the coaches who went viral. They're the coaches who kept showing up, who got great at communicating, who got great at packaging their ideas, who keep documenting as they coach to show proof, and who continue to coach through their content. That's the game. That's what we have to play. Let's bring it home. Influence is earned through clarity, structure, and consistency. The 3 reasons coaches stay invisible: unstructured thinking, inconsistent sharing, and unclear communication. The fix is packaging your intellectual property, your systems, your frameworks, the repeatable named processes that organize your ideas and make them teachable. Document while you coach. Capture what's already happening. Become the 3-mile hero. Create local proximity, both physically and digitally. Use this creative workflow, see, make, say, and train yourself to shrink the loop. Get more efficient at creating and stay consistent. Build your creative rhythm. Build your body of work that demonstrates your credibility. That's what makes you influential. Here's your action item for this week. Start noticing. Make a list. Document all of the things you notice. Pick one this week. Shape it. Name it. Give it some structure. Package it well. And then share it. And if you decide that you're ready to go deeper and you want more hands-on help from me in a digital room full of your peers, then consider joining the OPEX method. That's linked in the description below if you want to find out more. And use CoachRx to document while you coach. You have so much information and visible proof in the platform. And if you're not using CoachRx, then you should start your free trial. Choose the operating system of professional individual design coaches. Be able to use these tools to document while you coach in a platform that not only helps you be a better coach, but also looks really slick in your content. If this episode connected or shifted some thinking for you, I want to hear about it. Hit me in the DMs on Instagram. And I'd also appreciate it if you share it with a coach friend. My personal mission is to help coaches love marketing and build a practice that they want to live inside of. And to do that, I need your help. So be sure to share this episode. Let's stop waiting to feel influential and start doing the work that builds influence. I'm here to help. I'll be back next week with a new episode.